Hello, this is Holly Chantal, and welcome to the Land of Brand Laboratory, or as we like to call it, the LOBoratory for short. If you've never joined us before, we meet every Wednesday, 12 o'clock Eastern Time, and we talk about different topics in branding. So every week I present you a new idea, a new strategy, or a new experiment to try with your coaching brand. And our goal is for you to create a one-of-a-kind brand that is an expression of your personality and positions you strategically in the marketplace. And today we're going to be talking about beastly websites, the proper care and feeding of your coaching website so that it will work for you while you sleep. So if you have any questions as I'm going along, feel free to type them in the right-hand side on your chat box, and I will answer them at the end. I'm going to go ahead and switch over to my second monitor where we will see the presentation. Let's make it full screen. All right. All right. So today's topic, the proper care and handling of your coaching website so that it doesn't come back and bite you. So the game plan today is how to quickly tame the website beast and avoid overwhelm. Checking your website's health with 3 easy questions, no blood work required. 5 tricks you must teach your website to do. And strategies for properly feeding your website so it doesn't get grumpy and bite you. So basically, we're treating our website as a favorite pet because your website is something that you should love and cherish and that will be loyal to you forever and ever. So first, taming the beast. So you have to understand what is the #1 goal of your website. Oftentimes coaches think the #1 goal of a website is to sell something, and that actually comes later. The selling part of the sales process comes from follow-up and building a relationship with your prospects. So the #1 goal of your website is actually to get an opt-in. That starts the conversation and allows you to build a relationship with the prospect so that they do want to buy from you in the future. The biggest mistake coaches make is trying to close the deal too soon. So putting their offerings right front page on their website or trying to put too much stuff on that home page and it becomes confusing. So what you really want to do with your website is tame it. You want to simplify and make it easy for people to know exactly what action you want them to take. And on your homepage, that should always be the opt-in. Next, you want to take it to the groomer. So it's about more than just your homepage. We want to look at all of the different pages that your website has. Sometimes your website might get a little too hairy, a little too out of control because you've created hundreds of pages for different offerings, for different things that you've been doing in your business, and it's time for you to start paring that down and trimming that bad boy. So what I recommend is that you do a mind map with everything your website currently has, and then pare that down to what you are offering right now. There's no reason for you to have websites that are no longer serving you, web pages that are no longer serving you on your website. So you want to make sure that every single page has a purpose and that it is serving your overall brand. So how do you do that? So let's talk about the 3-step website evaluation so that you know which pages need to go and which pages need to stay. So the overall goal of your website is the opt-in, but each page can also have its own goal and the content should be singularly focused. So when you're looking at the different pages, you're going to ask these 3 questions. So this would be for your home page, for your about page, for a services page. You're going to ask these 3 questions and make sure that they're all in alignment. And if that page is singularly focused, then it's all set. Otherwise, you're going to have to trim, groom, and just make sure that the website has a singular purpose and a singular focus. So first question is, who is this page for? So who is coming to this page as far as the target audience? What are they looking for? Also, where are they in your sales cycle? Is this a page that is for people that are just landing on your website for the first time, such as the homepage? Or is this a page that you're going to be sending prospects to after they've had a conversation with you. So they might be a little more educated into what you do. Or it could be a page that's for people that have already been through courses, so you might be able to use a little more advanced lingo. So knowing who the page is for will help you determine what type of information and what kind of language you can use on that page. The second question is, what do you want them to do? So what is the action that you want them to take when they land on that page? So for the home page, it's the opt-in. On the services page, it may be to contact you. On an about page, oftentimes people don't have an action that you want them to take that just ends. So this is where you make sure that every single page has a purpose. So on the about page, what would be the logical next step that you'd want someone to take after reading about you? Make sure that that call to action is there. And then last, how am I going to get them to do it? So how am I going to make that call to action so enticing that they take it? So when you were talking about this opt-in offer on the homepage, that's usually offering something for free in exchange for an email address. So how you get people to take that action is by offering something really tempting that they can use right away. You might entice them through design. So both by making the offer appeal very valuable by having maybe an image of a special report that is branded with your visual brand, or it could be as simple as making sure that the button that they choose, that they click in order to opt in, is an enticing color and contrasts with the other colors on the page so that it stands out. So there's both design factors as well as logic and creating a need for them to take the action. Another way you might create a need would be to include testimonials or tell a story that is compelling and makes people want to take action. Those are the kinds of things that you'll certainly use on your sales pages to get them to take that action either to purchase or to contact you. So everything on that page has to be geared toward having them want to take that next step. Once you've done that, it's time to take each page to the groomer. So make sure that everything on the page points towards your goal. So for instance, do you really need to list your 20 different coaching packages, or is that confusing? Sometimes all you need to do is talk about what you do, and the call to action is to contact you, and then you talk about the different packages so that you can help them select which one is best for them. Do your prospects need to know the exact process they're going to be following with you? Do they need to know what every single week is going to look like? Do they need to know exactly down to the minute how long the calls are going to be? So just look at each page and make sure that all the information on there is absolutely necessary, because less is more when it comes to your website. The more you can simplify and the more you can direct people's focus to where you want it, the easier it's going to be for you to sell your coaching services. Another question you might ask yourself is, do prospects typically buy without talking to you, or do they need consultation? This will vary from coach to coach as well as product to product. Some products people can buy in an automated fashion because they're at a lower price point. You have a lot of follow-up and trust and credibility built up already in your sales system, so that they can just make the purchase without talking to someone. Oftentimes, especially with one-on-one coaching packages, or if you're selling other services, for instance, our website design packages or our branding packages, we have to talk to that person first because they're at a higher price point. We want to build that personal connection and make sure that they're a good fit client, because these are high commitment on both parties, and you want to make sure that you drive together. So ask yourself, do you really need to have a buy button, or should you have a buy button on that particular page, or would another call to action be more appropriate at this stage? So what is that call to action? What is the best call to action that you can make? Old websites can learn new tricks. So Once you have gone through, groomed your website, got it into tip-top shape, have all of the elements in place, your website can act as the hub of your marketing. So the reason why I say you want to have all of those pieces in place before you start marketing is because I find that a lot of coaches are suffering from website shame. They don't want people going to their site because they know it's not serving them. They know it's not accurately describing what it is they do or displaying their brand at the level that they're playing. So the quality of the website is not at the quality of their services. So you want to get that fixed before you start sending people to the website. Once you've done that, then your website can really act as a hub. It represents your brand, so it tells people who you serve, what you do for them, why they should hire you over everyone else. It engages prospects and gets them to opt in, so it actually starts the sales conversation for you. It creates awareness for your program. So while you might not be selling programs right up front, it does create awareness. So you will have services page, you will have products page. Like I said, on some of those pages, they may be able to make a purchase. Others, they will have to talk to you first. But usually at this stage, when someone first lands on your site, they're checking you out, and then you're going to be sending them back to those pages during your follow-up. Really, your website is a coach's best friend because it can talk to thousands and thousands of people at once, which obviously you can't do. So your website will work for you 24/7, interacting with your prospects, building a relationship, and moving them closer to buying from you. So how would you market your website? At the Land of Brand, we talk about two different ways to market yourself. First is content marketing. So content marketing being sharing your knowledge, writing articles, doing teleseminars, webinars, podcasting. So putting your information out on the web for people to find, and then that directs them back to your website. So that's very passive. And then we have social, or or relationship marketing is another way to say that. So this is direct networking. This is direct outreach, talking to influencers, talking to people that can put you in front of your audience, and actually actively reaching out to people and creating partnerships and putting your information out there through them. These two marketing categories can then be expanded into 7 from the Book Yourself Solid system. So as many of you know, I'm a Book Yourself Solid certified coach, and these are the 7 core self-promotion strategies. Oh, I missed a slide. So I had a slide in between here that listed the 7, but we're just going to skip that because it's not here. So we'll just go through each one at a time. So the first one is networking. So you could create a special page to send people to when you're networking. So when you go to events, you're passing out your business card, maybe you have a page that you send those people to that introduces them to you and your brand versus just sending them to your homepage, which is more geared toward your target audience. Oftentimes when you're networking, you're not necessarily the conversation is usually a little bit different. When I'm networking, I'm usually finding partners or people that could be potential referral sources. Sometimes they're clients, but even if it's finding someone that is a potential client, chances are I'm not going to send them to my homepage because my homepage is really geared toward people that have no idea who I am, never have talked to me before. It's the homepage is for people that are finding me through Google or other sources. So you might have a page that you send people to based on the type of conversation you had. So if it's a potential partner, you might have one page, or if it's a potential client that you've talked to at a networking event, then maybe you have a different page. And what this does is, remember back when we were talking about the 3 questions that you would ask for each page, who is coming to this page? So this allows you to really tailor the conversation and tailor the language based on who it is you're sending. So that might be a way to leverage your website for when you're doing your networking. Another way is direct outreach. So your website is the perfect introduction to what you do. So when you're doing direct outreach, chances are people are going to be going to your website to check you out before they decide if they're going to respond to your email or not. And so this is why your website and your brand is so important, because if your brand looks amateurish or looks like you know, you're just starting out, or you don't have the type of experience that you actually do, you're not going to get that call back or that email back. So that's why your website is really important, even in your direct outreach marketing. You can also use events that you're hosting on your website to start a conversation. So for example, the LOBoratory is a great conversation starter. If I'm meeting a new partner and we're talking about ways we can collaborate, having them present a topic for the LOBoratory. I'm going to be starting up a podcast soon, so that would be a great way to start a conversation. And those kinds of things can be on your website so that they can see what it is you're doing and what you're up to. Your follow-up is a big part of your marketing. It's one of the core promotion strategies. So follow-up being your autoresponders, your newsletters, your email campaigns, maybe also phone calls. So your website usually has all of that built into it so that it does the follow-up for you. So your website is a huge technology tool that is going to allow you to not just start the conversation, but continue the conversation and follow up with people on your behalf. So you're keeping that interaction going. And then the last four are referrals. So your website can house an affiliate program, and which can be shown on your site to recruit new affiliates, as well as allow current affiliates to get promotional information, to check their stats, see how their promotions are going, that kind of thing. Writing strategy obviously is blogging, article writing, guest blogging. So I already kind of talked about that. That's basically your run-of-the-mill content marketing is obviously run through your website, and all of that drives people back to the website. So if I'm posting my articles on databases, I'm guest blogging on other people's blogs, all of that is driving traffic back to the website. Speaking, pretty much the same thing, it's just in a different format. So this is teleseminars, webinars, telesummits. All of these need a website for you to send people back to. Plus, they also need a website for you to collect the registrations and distribute the access information. And then last but not least, social media. So social media integrates both ways with your website. Your website can post to social media, and your social media profiles drive people back to the website. So the idea is that you write an article or you share something on your site that gets shared to social media. It's people like it, people comment on it, people share it with their networks, and then all the people they're sharing with it are then being directed back to your site. So it's a great way to get bigger reach and have a symbiotic relationship with your website and your social media profiles. So now that you're marketing your site, it's time to make sure that your site stays fed. So to keep your website from getting cranky and nagging you, because if you're not keeping your website updated, you're not blogging, you're not continually feeding your site, you're gonna feel a little bit guilty. You're not going to want to send people to it because your website's out of date. You're going to start suffering from website shame again. So it's important that you set a schedule for yourself to post new content. So this would be an editorial calendar or some kind of system that works for you to make sure that you're consistently posting to your site, you're consistently sharing new content and getting your message out there. And my rule of thumb is that once a week is the minimum for updating content. So you could write a blog post, you could repurpose a previous post as a podcast or a teleseminar. So it's as easy as that. So consistently putting out new information every week is critical, not just for your website to keep it up to date, but also for your brand to raise awareness, show that you are active, share your expertise, and establish yourself as an authority. Keep a checklist of pages with time-sensitive information. This is just a little tip. And make sure that they're kept up to date. So for example, the LOBoratory page, I go in and update that every month. I actually need to update it today because the dates change because I post the topics a month in advance. So if you went to it now, you'll notice the last topic posted is today. So I need to go in, update that information and keep it up to date, because if someone comes in to that page a week from now and they see that all of the dates are previous, they're going to think that I'm either no longer running it, or that I just don't keep up with things, that I'm lazy. And that is not the kind of perception that you want to create with your brand. So I like to keep a little checklist of pages that need to be kept up to date. I try to keep that to a minimum. The more evergreen your content is, the easier it's going to be for you. But sometimes when you have something like a community call that needs to be updated every month, that, that's worth staying on top of and not making evergreen. So as a recap, your website has an overall goal, but each page needs to have a specific goal as well. So the overall goal of your website is to start a conversation, but each page within that site, within the website, also has its own specific purpose, which may be to start a conversation with the opt-in, or it might be to educate your prospects and have them choose their kind of track that they want to go with you, the level of client that they're at, the service that they need. So every page needs to stand on its own, as well as work as part of a whole. The 3 questions that you need to ask for each page as you're grooming your site is: who is coming to this page? What do I want them to do? And how am I going to get them to do it? And last but not least, your website is your brand. So your website is the ultimate expression of your brand, both visually, in how you communicate, in creating how you're marketing yourself. Your website really is the hub of everything. So it's the hub of all of your marketing. It shares all of the information that your prospects need in order to make a decision to hire you. It's really your most important asset as a coach, and you want to make sure that you're treating it well, feeding it right, and that you're giving it its due respect that it needs. So next week, we're going to be talking about systematizing your business. So we're going to be talking about different systems that run your business and free up your time so that you can focus on your genius and what you really want to be focusing on. So if you have any questions, you can email holly@thelandofbrand.com. If you have any topics that you'd like to see in the future, please do email me and I will get them on the calendar. If I don't have the answer, then I will find someone that does and invite them to be interviewed on LOBoratory. I'm always looking for suggestions. And if you want help creating your engaging brand, please email holly@thelandofbrand.com. I would love to talk to you, see what you got going on now, what your challenges are, and how we might be able to help. So I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I will see you next Wednesday. Bye, everyone.